Hey, well, that's always good news and always good fishing. Shares a lot of great stories with us. Well, let's get right to our guest, Billy.
Okay.
We've got a couple of what I consider very, very special people because they have done something that very few people have the common sense to do. So I hate to put it that way, but my goodness, why would anybody put themselves through an ordeal like the Texas Water Safari? We have two local, and one a gentleman we had to pull in from out of town. But Aaron Guest is our guest, along with Michael Tooch, and we're going to call him Tooch. All right, Tooch, I like that. Aaron, we're going to start with you. Tell me about how in the world you two guys met.
Oh, Tooch, we're both artists. You know, I was teaching with Bob Rainerson and Gail Allard. We're working as visiting artists out at Junction for a satellite class for Texas Tech. And Tooch was out there as an undergrad learning to blow glass and taking some of the classes out there. And when we met him, he was just an awesome kid and had right attitude about everything. He was always involved in everything that we were doing in the glass and all that kind of stuff and in the art classes. But he was also with us recreationally. You know, he had a lot of common interests with us, so we tried to steal him away from Brownsville and Lubbock and get him into Central Texas.
I was in Lubbock for a studio art school, studio art major, and I needed to take some extra credits during the summer, and they said I could go down to Junction. I saw that there was a river, the South Llano, down there, and that we got to hang out and do our classes and spend a lot of time in the river. I ended up taking 3 different classes out there and doing a lot of fishing while I was there. And Bob Rainerson, who was teaching that class, I think it was the first day, he saw my kayak on top of my car, and probably the first thing he said was, "You like to fish?" And he started telling me about canoe trips that he used to take as a kid, which kind of got my interest started in canoeing. I'd always been in a sit-on-top kayak down in the Laguna Madre and the coast down in Brownsville and South Padre Island. And he had stories about the North Woods, and I'd never considered sitting in a canoe other than a kayak up until that point.
Yeah, and those were my first experiences in a canoe, more or less, was with Bob up in the North Woods in Quetico parks up there. We'd canoe into Canada from Ely, Minnesota. You're not even allowed to have any motors or gasoline or anything like that in those parks. So it's just a pristine area, and that's kind of where we cut our teeth on canoeing.
How close is that to the Boundary Waters?
It is the Boundary Waters.
That is the Boundary Waters.
You start in the Boundary Waters, and you hop across the border, and you're in Quetico Provincial Park.
Okay. I've had the opportunity to fish St. Croix up there, and we had to portage several times to get to the St. Croix from where we put in on the American side. But beautiful country and beautiful water, and the walleye, oh my goodness, once you've had some walleye, it's hard to go back to catfish.
Yeah, it sure is.
And Billy wouldn't believe me on that, but that's true.
It's a trip for this summer, but next year's is already booked.
Okay, so that's a little bit about your background. Now let's get into this Texas Water Safari, known basically worldwide as one of the hardest canoe races in the world.
Yep, it's 270 miles, and it starts out in San Marcos at what used to be Aquarina Springs, and that runs the full length of the San Marcos River into the Guadalupe and then down to Seadrift, Texas. It comes out on the coast. So you've got some technical rapid stuff up in the beginning, and then it flattens out and gets kind of, I won't say boring, but you've got a lot of paddling to do.
It gets a little bit wider. It slows down a little bit. And, they call the first 90 miles the parade. You see people watching. There's camps. There's tubers. You've got to dodge the tubers and kids in their tubes with their parents. And then once you get to the Guadalupe around Gonzales, it slows down a bit and gets wider. And then it gets more remote and more remote the closer you get to the coast before a final bay crossing. I believe it dumps out into San Antonio Bay for the last debatable between 4 to 10 miles. We clocked about 8 miles in the bay before we made it to to the Sea Drift finish line.
What was the water like with the recent rains? Did you find that you had a little bit problem with excessive water?
We had good flow. It was really good flow, and we're really thankful for it. And as a matter of fact, it started raining on us. Do you remember where we were when it started raining?
I believe the Highway 59 bridge, maybe about halfway through the course or a little past halfway, and we were just getting dumped on, but it was beautiful. We were having a blast while we were getting dumped on. It was a refreshing, cooling experience rather than the heat, which we would have taken anytime.
Exactly.
So what was the total number of canoes involved in this?
This was a record year. I believe 192 had signed up, and every year on the day of the start, a couple teams decide maybe next year. So if you started out, I think it was about 185 that started the race.
Yeah. And then we had 128 of those finished, so that means 57 of the teams got knocked out or stopped.
Yeah, that's really good numbers, that many to finish.
Yeah. Whether their boat got hit by a rock and couldn't repair it on the fly, or maybe there's checkpoints with different time restrictions. So if you don't make it to a certain checkpoint by a certain time, then you'll have to pull out.
Explain the checkpoints, and this is not like a camping trip. This is full-fledged 40-plus hours of canoeing.
They call it a marathon canoe race, and that means you're going the whole time, or at least as long as you can. And I believe there's about 10 checkpoints and then various what they call handoff spots, because this was not just us in a canoe. There is a road crew, our team captains, that are following us the entire way, giving us water, our food, and medical supplies if needed. Is the only thing they can do. They can hand us our food in a mesh bag. They cannot touch the boat. They can't push us off or help us pull the boat up onto shore. So they're with us the whole time, following our Garmin trackers to make sure that we make it from spot to spot and on to the next place.
So the checkpoints are not really first aid stations and this kind of thing. It is more of just making sure you've gotten to a certain area by a certain time. And if you don't make that, then you're basically disqualified.
Right, correct.
Okay. Now, I understand, and I was researching this a little bit online. I've heard about it for many years, but this is the first time I've actually talked to anyone that has done this particular event. I understand that there are different divisions. Were you in what was called the novice division because it was your first time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how many other divisions were there? Because I know there's one that you can have like 6 canoes in the boat.
There's probably about 8 different divisions.
There's a women's division and a men's division, and then there's a world-class division that's, and then I think the unlimited division is one you can have up to 6 people in your canoe.
You can do there's a solo women's, there's C2, which is a pair. There's an aluminum division. There's also the novice division, which most people run in aluminum. And then unlimited, you're allowed to use just about whatever equipment you want to, up to 6 people.
Up to 6.
So those boats are big and long, and they go pretty quickly.
Do they typically finish first, or?
Well,
not?
This year there was a single. He was in a kayak, a sea kayak of some sort.
I believe what they call a surf ski, a very long, narrow solo craft. He used a double blade paddle, and he finished in 38 hours and some change, which is superhuman feat for what we noticed. We saw him at the start of the race. We didn't even see him hanging out at the finish line. He was
never did see him.
He was gone days before we got there.
Now, how do they start you? Because with almost 200 yaks and canoes in the water, that could be dangerous on the start.
Well, they kind of had us spread out on the old Aquarina Springs, where the glass bottom boats used to go around, or I guess they still do. But they kind of had more or less lines set up, marked along the walls.
And some buoys.
There were. So we
were in row 26.
Yeah. So,
did you draw for your row? Is that the way that works? Or based on experience?
There are some preliminary races, and you race for positions in the start, and then also how it depends on when you signed up for the race after that.
If you want to start in the front row, you've got to race the prelim, what they call. And if you get first place in that, you start first, and you're the first one of the first couple portages, rather than like we were, at the back of the line. It was a traffic jam.
Oh, we're in a mob the whole way.
The first few portages were
awesome.
Quite a zoo.
I was reading some of the events and some of the record holders, and the fastest time, did you know what that would be? Can you make a guess?
Fastest time? No.
Ever.
I'm guessing 34,
30,
maybe.
32, 33.
29.46.
No way.
Unbelievable.
That was, Brian, that was a 6-person canoe.
Yeah.
That was in 1997. No one's been able to break it since then.
Well, they were certainly hubbing it.
That is amazing, because you do have to portage some of the areas. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Because of dams and waterfalls,
There's
kind of thing.
There's a lot of those old low head dams, like Staples.
There's Cummins, Staples, Martindale, Luling, Gonzales Dam. So plenty of dams you have to go over or around, and then some mandatory portages, whether there's a log jam or the saltwater barrier towards the end of the race, you have to do a mandatory portage for safety reasons.
Youngest finisher?
13.
9.
Oh.
Wow.
And it doesn't say how quick they were, but it was a gal.
I'll be.
Jessica, at 9 years old.
Oh,
That's phenomenal to me. So many other reports.
What year
here.
was that, Rick?
That was in, let's see, youngest finisher was 2003. It's interesting that so many of the records were set by the 6-person unlimited class. Mm-hmm. But they have the oldest. Billy, there's hope for you. The oldest, make a guess.
83.
Well, you're close. 81 years, 10 months.
Okay.
Owen West. That was 2019.
Well,
so once you get 81, Billy, you can participate.
Okay.
In fact,
if they allow,
you guys, would you want to get in a 3-person and let Billy?
No. If they allow a 225 on the back, I'll do it.
No, that's one of the rules. It's got to be human propelled.
I know.
There's all sorts of specifications on the yaks and the canoes. I thought it was interesting that their favorite aluminum canoe is a brand I used to sell, Alumacraft. Mm-hmm. And that is the one they recommend if you're going to be participating in the aluminum division. Now, tell me a little bit about the canoe that you were in.
Well, I'm going to tell you, we started out in a Grumman. We were training in a Grumman. I used to sell
Grummans, too.
But we were doing our research, and we decked this Grumman out. We decked it out exactly like you would deck out an Alumacraft for this, with the sliding seats and everything. We went and we made a skirt for it. Everything went all the way. And we just were not making time with it. It was a great boat. It's a beautiful boat. We shined it, and it was a slug. It was just slow. And
we caught a lot of fish out of it while we were training.
Did it have a keel? Yep. Was it a smooth bottom, or did it have a keel on your Grumman? Do you remember?
I don't remember. It was the 17.6 model, and is about a 1960-ish, somewhere in there.
Was it just a little too heavy?
It was too heavy.
Too heavy and it was wide. About 80 pounds or so.
Okay.
Yeah, it was about 80 pounds.
Okay, so you gave up on the Grumman.
Well, we hadn't given up on it, but we're kind of looking for something else. And our friend Mark Setz, who had an interest in the Texas Water Safari prior, we were just kind of talking to him, and he says, "Hey, I've got the Alumacraft that you want, and come get it."
He had a fully rigged Voyager. He had meant to do the race with a number of years ago. And he graciously let us borrow it, and that saved us a lot of pain and suffering on those portages.
Absolutely did. Absolutely. I don't know that we would have finished in that Grumman, but that Alumacraft, that Voyager.
I'm not sure we could have gotten the Grumman up that one log jam with the mud hill. We had to scale a
mud hole,
10-foot wall of mud up and down.
Really?
It was awesome. I mean, we had to dig pits for our toes and hands to go into, because there was no other way to get up that hill. I mean, it was slick, muddy. We were covered with mud. It was awesome.
I believe the mud saved
awesome.
us.
I don't know that I'd call it that. Would you, Billy?
No, I don't think so.
It was awesome, and I believe the mud saved us from the poison ivy. We would have been itching if we weren't coated in mud.
Coated in mud. What about
That's
mosquitoes?
Right. That probably helped with that,
It helped
too.
with that, too.
Yeah, a combination of that mud and bear grease.
So what does a person do if they win their categories? What do they get for?
I will let you know if that ever happens. I have no
idea what.
The winners is they were all, like I say, they were all long gone by the time
we were about 11 hours late to the awards ceremony.
I understand.
We didn't even make it to the dinner, we did.
I've got to ask you, knowing now, what the score, the quickest time was, a little less than 30 hours. What was your time?
We were at 84 hours.
84 hours.
Mm-hmm. With a 100-hour cutoff, we made it 15 hours, 16 hours under the cut.
16 hours under the cut.
And that's fine. That is fine by us.
Extremely happy with our finish.
Yeah, I would be happy with that.
Our goal for the entire thing was, 1, not die, and 2, finish the race.
Finish the race.
That's amazing.
So that's really a wonderful time when you consider now. You were awake that whole time, though?
We would take short naps whenever we had to, but for the most part, yeah. I mean, it was a straight through shot. We didn't stop and camp or anything like that.
Right.
I mean, there's just not any time.
There's no time to camp.
We might have accumulated about 2.5 hours of sleep throughout the whole race, and our longest was a 1-hour nap that was necessary. We were quite loopy. Hard to continue. That saved us, and we rallied after that.
Did you pull to the shore and stop? Or?
That was at a checkpoint.
At a checkpoint.
Some of our naps, you could just pull over wherever you'd like.
Right.
But we went to a checkpoint, and
we took a couple of 20-minute naps in the mud, and I mean
that was at Victoria. We took our longest nap, and I had requested a Whataburger from my team captain, so he went straight to sleep. I managed my Whataburger, get it down, and then we took our nap, and on our way we went.
If I'd have gone to sleep, you wouldn't have been able to wake me up. No. You would have had to drag me back.
That's what I was afraid of as well. But when when you're that tired and you've been going that long, you close your eyes and you are asleep pretty much. I mean, you go instantly. But then when they came over, team captains came over and said, "Hey, Aaron, it's time to go." The lights come right back on, and you'd be amazed at how much 20 minutes will refresh you.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, do you do any training or prepare for this, or you just do it cold?
No. We started about 8 months ago, I guess, or
we've been paddling on Stillhouse and the Lampasas River about 3 times a week.
Okay.
Maybe some breaks during the colder months. I switched over to hunting ducks, but we tried to combine that a little bit with getting on the water early, and
I think that's really the only way you can train for it is to go out and put time.
Around March, we started doing the longer sections of the San Marcos. We started our first day with a big one was 40 miles, and that about wiped us out. And we were wondering how could we get to 260 or 270, depending how you measure, if that's what 40 miles did to us.
Yeah. So it's a 260-mile trip to the coast. Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
260 to 270.
260 as advertised, hard to measure.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Going from side to side.
Oh, yeah.
There was
you can make it longer.
Steps
you absolutely can extend that trip quite a bit.
Okay. How did you finish overall out of the almost 200 that started?
Overall, I think we were 1/10 overall and 13th in the novice division.
Good.
Wow. Very
not
impressive.
Too bad.
Not too bad.
Very impressive.
For just trying to finish.
Will you ever do it again?
Oh yeah.
I think we've already made some plans.
They're in training now.
Yeah. It's like nothing I've ever done before. It's a very.
You keep using the word amazing, so it really must have been. And I know you've had a lot of adventure in your life, Aaron. So
that's true.
This is
true, and this is absolutely
on the top.
Tops it. I mean,
do you know of other people from this area that were there? Why did you get to talk to anyone else from Central Texas?
I heard that there was a team down there, but yeah, I didn't run into
on the
them.
list. I saw there was a tandem team from Temple.
From Temple,
I hadn't recognized their names or anything like that.
I heard that there was a team down there and that they had dropped out.
Yeah, I would drop out after. The first checkpoint would be where I'd say, hey, this is a good place right here. I've had a lot of fun. Let's go to Whataburger.
Well, I'm going to tell you that there's a lot, that was one of the reasons that Tooch and I did it together, because you've got to have a partner that wants it as bad as you do, because it is a long, long way from San Marcos down to Seadrift.
Now, is this a sponsored event by some companies, or?
There are sponsors for the event. I know we got our T-shirts, and there's a number of companies on the back of that. It's been going on for 63 years. A lot of people are involved. Texas Parks and Wildlife. I believe it was the 63rd annual.
Wow. 63rd annual.
So some people have done it for almost 40 years, and a lot of people are repeat finishers, or at least attempters. They might have 8 finishes, 10 attempts, or I think some have done it as many as 40 times. They're hooked.
I believe there's one gentleman, I can't remember his name, that has won his division 14 times. But he started out as a novice, but after the first time you cannot go back to novice. So now next time you'll have to be in a different division, is my understanding.
Yeah, we'll run aluminum next time, I believe.
Right. Okay. So you recommend it for others? I mean, they've obviously got to be physically fit. They've obviously got to have tremendous stamina. But would you recommend it as an adventure for men or women that would love to push themselves to the extreme?
I would absolutely recommend it to masochists.
Okay.
If you enjoy being on the river and you enjoy, for me, it's always been fishing. Fishing got me to the river. And it would actually hurt a little to spend so much time on the river without a fishing pole.
I could understand that.
We had to hang up the fishing rods during our training to get a little more serious about the paddling.
Yeah.
And we've seen more river this year than the rest of our lives all put together. I've seen more wildlife. I've seen more alligator gar come up and slap the surface. It's been amazing, the training and the race, just putting those river miles in, for sure. It's
so beautiful on some of the rivers, but then you'll go through certain areas where there's abandoned cars, old cars. I'm sure you've seen those. We found a championship saddle on the Lampasas many years ago, and it turned out it had been stolen out of Abilene, and it was it was silver and the whole bit, and somebody had stolen it, obviously, and then decided to get rid of it. Didn't take the silver off of it or anything. Trenton Harton was our Texas Ranger at that time, and I contacted him, and they found out who had won the saddle and got it back to him. And of course, it had to be, I'm sure, because it had been in the water, it had to be treated. But I just remember putting in at Kempner, I believe it was, for the Lampasas, and when the water's up, it's so beautiful going down. The last time I actually canoed, the lake was there, but 2 times before, we canoed from there all the way to where the dam was going to be, because I wanted to have that experience one more time before it was cut off, because it was such a beautiful valley where they put Lake Stillhouse. But I think probably one of my favorite trips was on the Colorado, and we put in just south of Lady Bird Lake. It wasn't called Lady Bird at that time, but we put in there and went down all the way to Burnett. So my trips were only overnighters, and we camped out. The worst experience we had was a flood upriver on the Lampasas, and we had camped out on a sandbar, which was a big mistake, and the water came up very fast. In fact, I turned over in my tent, my hand hit water, and that's how I knew that the water was rising that fast. So we broke camp real quick. We lost one canoe, so we had to double up with the other teams. But you got to be careful on these rivers, because you can be perfectly dry where you are, but 20 miles upriver, it can be a flood. And that when that water comes down, it truly is a wall of water. Yeah. It's very, very scary.
Yeah. So I would, can you use this race as a weight loss program?
I believe you can.
I think we
both are. That's kind of actually what I was using it for.
Yeah, that's what I was just sitting there thinking.
I was trying to pull some weight off with the training for this race.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're sure glad to have you. I want you to put a little plug in for your businesses over at Barrows, if you will.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. We've got Sacred Sandwich and Far Out 54. They're both food trailers down at Barrow Brewing in Salado.
Right.
And then Tooch.
I've been at Salado Glassworks for 11 years, which Aaron was there when I first started to learn to blow glass for sure, and been in business for 15 with my boss who taught me to blow glass, Gail Allard, and we're still chugging away.
Do you have a specialty that you prefer or that sells better for you when you're doing your glass work?
Our biggest draw every year is our Christmas ornaments, where people come in and blow their own. Currently doing Father's Day stuff. People come in and make beer mugs with us, do some hands-on glass blowing.
Oh, that's neat.
That finishes up this weekend, and we take a little break for the summer, but we get back to it at the end of August and early September. And, we do custom work, a lot of lighting, and lots of various drinking glasses. Whiskey glasses, beer mugs, wine glasses, all of it.
Sounds like a great gift for a father to be able to go and do something. Do you ever have families take the classes together? And if so, how old do the children have to be?
So to do our hands-on events, it's ages 12 and up. To do Christmas ornaments, it's ages 3 and up. So it's absolutely family-friendly. A lot of father-daughter groups come in, father-son. Lots of anniversary trips get planned here. We do everything from church groups to bachelorette parties to come in and make their wine glasses.
All right. Okay. Yeah, give us the name of the facility again, and do you have the address and phone number off the top of your head?
I should have the phone number, but that's going to be 1 Peddler's Alley across from Barrow Brewing in Salado. Salado Glassworks, and our website is saladoglassworks.com. Just sign up for any events.
All right. And again, I understand one of your food trucks is an ice cream truck?
That's correct. Far Out 54, and it's down there on the tennis court at Barrow Brewing. And do
you happen to have butter pecan?
I don't have butter pecan, but I have the best soft serve out there.
Do you?
I will run it against.
I can attest to that.
I'll run that up against McDonald's or Dairy Queen or whoever you think the best soft serve is.
Does your machine work though? At McDonald's,
it is always on.
I shouldn't say that on the air, but I love soft serve ice cream. In fact, I go to Jason's Deli, just for the ice cream. It seems like McDonald's never has their machine working.
Yeah, that's right. No, ours is always on. We've got acai bowls and other treats as well.
All right. Billy?
I was doing some reading last night, and Salado is the 4th best community in the state to retire, is what this article says. It had the top 10 communities in the state of Texas to retire, and Salado was, I think, number 4. It's an amazing little community down there.
Great place. Good place to grow up. And matter of fact, I grew up in that creek, in the Salado Creek.
Oh, you did, really?
Okay. Sure did.
Was that when it was safe to get in or
not? When it was safe to get in,
yeah. It always has been.
It may or may not have been, but I always thought
you were there.
I was in it.
Well, now, what is the mermaid, Serena?
Serena,
yes. Okay. That's at creek. You go by on a summer day, you're always going to see kids out there enjoying that. Anything else that y'all would like to share? This has been wonderful. We're really glad to have you, and your stories, and be willing to share and to share the pitfalls too. That's good. Anything else that you think of?
I mean, the one thing that stands out was definitely the community around the water safari. The logistics for getting all those teams down the river, checkpoint to checkpoint, everyone's willing to help each other out. The people in the top 15, they might be really racing. I wouldn't know because, again, we didn't see them the whole time. But I know the groups that we were with were all willing to help each other. I kept calling it we were leapfrogging. We would pass a team. We would take our little nap. They would pass us. So we kept seeing the same group of about 20 boats. So, I called us the tail gunners, bringing up the rear. And everyone was friendly, helpful, and willing to, when we got to that mud hill, help each other up that mud wall. we helped a couple boats, and they helped us, and they continue to help the boats coming behind them. So tons of helpful people.
Did you have anyone turn over in any of the rapids that you had to help?
Yeah, we had one lady that was that we were leapfrogging with, and at the checkpoint before, we'd kind of overheard that she was having some problems staying awake. And sure enough, she had gotten off ahead of us, and she had fallen asleep and wrapped her boat around a rock. And it wasn't anything that looked very dangerous or anything like that.
Even when shallow, that water is powerful, and if it gets your boat lodged, it can even bend in aluminum.
Oh, it will. Yep. Yeah, we had that on one of the scout trips that I was on with a bunch of they're Eagle Scouts actually, and one of them water was flowing pretty heavily, and they bent that canoe right in half. I mean, It's amazing how quick it can happen, and you got to be careful when the water's up because of those low hanging limbs. Now, I don't know if you ran into that, but that's also an issue.
Many low hanging limbs,
and with plenty of poison ivy. Any snakes? You didn't mention snakes.
We saw 2, and we saw more during our training sessions because we would be early morning and we would be the first people on the river. So there was a lot more wildlife. I think they had cleared out most of the snakes with the other 100 boats that had passed through before us.
For sure.
We managed to see 2 gators towards the end, 2 little gators.
Yep.
Oh, that's a lot of fun. Billy, anything else?
No, but I'm just going to stick to my bass boat, I think.
All right. Well, I understand. Again,
now, if someone wants more information are interested in this, can they contact you all to give them the information they might need?
Absolutely. We can direct them to the Texas Water Safari website. There's local canoe clubs that we've now been introduced to.
Good.
And there's more than this race this year. There's lots of local races to get involved in to get a taste. And they also have the Junior Water Safari in September. That's a 16-mile race. So if you think you might be interested in trying the big race, you can always do a shorter one to get started.
Now, is the junior just for young people, or is it for everyone?
I believe they call it junior because it's 16 miles, but all ages.
Oh, just all ages.
Yep.
Can we do that, Billy? 16 miles?
We'll think
have
about
to work out a little bit.
You think about it.
I'll think about it. Our guests today, Alan Giss and Michael Tooch. I like that name. That's a family name, obviously.
Apparently, way back when, it was De La Touche. And
Touche. I would understand that.
Gets butchered to Touchy a lot.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, thank you for being here. If you'll hang loose, we'll got a few other stories we need to share, but would love to have you stay to the end of the show if you have time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
It's been a real pleasure. Billy, you.